Oh Lord, you live.
Live.
You live. We got some Al Green going on this morning.
Yep.
Love and happiness.
Yes, sir.
Gotta love this, man, the work we do, man. You know, this that morning vibe, that Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here we go. Love will make you. Yeah, this is exciting stuff, man. Thank you for everybody who joining us. This is Mike Olbel, CEO of Community-Based Connections. Thank you for joining myself and Richard Charlemon, CEO of Reyna Group Home. Doing wonderful stuff for the community. We are excited about the great work, Richard.
Yeah.
I mean, we are so excited. But man, this good morning vibe right here. Yes, sir. Here we go. Hey, nothing like starting with good old Al Green in the morning at the top of the hour. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the C-Suite, where we talk about opportunities and challenges. You know, we talk about the great work we're doing in the community. You know, why it's titled the C-Suite, you know, challenges and opportunities, you know, what the base of this is just getting people connected with who's in the community. And that's always important. You know, when we think about community-based connections, you know, in our name is community and it's connections. So we getting everybody connected with our leaders in the community that's doing all this great quality work. For most of y'all who don't know, who just joined us for the very first time, community-based connection, truly believe in expanding developable option that change the odds to helping children being socially and academically successful despite the many challenges they face and regardless of the many negative influence. We're here located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, just 30 minutes north of Miami, 20 minutes south of Palm Beach, or 25 minutes south, depending on what traffic look like. We're in the heart of the community right here on 6 Trump Boulevard, 1021 Northwest 6th Street, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33311. You can visit our website at communitybasedconnections.com. Follow us on Instagram at CB Connections, Florida, Twitter, same. We don't have a TikTok, but YouTube, Community-Based Connections. So we're on all possible outlets at this moment. And if you're tuning in because you want to know about Mr. Richard Charlemon. And I'm so happy to join this great man. Richard, thank you for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a round of applause. Thank you for joining us. We are excited to have you.
Is this Trunk, Mike?
Yeah, we're located right here on 6 Trump Boulevard, man.
Oh, okay.
Don't get any better than this, you know? Yes, it just don't get any better. Our location, prime location, you know, just an opportunity to bring on real change and to know that those who need our supported services can walk directly up to our front door and just knock or just open, because the door is always open unless it's after hours. Then you got to knock, right?
Yeah.
But this is what's beautiful about our work, because we always look to position where the community need us most, right? Because I don't want to be in another city, but the people who need it most is right here, right? Leading in certain zip codes. So we're happy, man. We're happy to be here. Shout out to my board here at Community Based Connection, the team members here at Community Based Connection who continue to do the heart of the matter work, as I call it here. And we're so happy to be a part of this. Shout out to all our funders. You know who you are. Children's Service Council of Broward County, United Way of Broward County, Jim Moran Foundation, ChildNet, Casey Family Services, Broward County Human Service Department. Just thank you to all our funders who believe in the mission and have continued to allow us to make great community impact. Richard, we didn't come here for me today. We came here for you. Man, tell us of who is Richard Charlemon in the Reyna group.
All right, so like you mentioned, 30 minutes south. Richard was born and raised in Miami-Dade County, 305, Mike.
Take it to the house.
Yeah, born to immigrant parents. We had a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. My dad was in construction. Me and my siblings shared 1 bedroom with 5 kids. And my sister Tanya peed the bed, Mike. So every day it was my job to take the mattress out, dry it out there, bring it back in. And then he just started to build the house out. It turned from a 2-bedroom to a 7-bedroom house with a duplex in the back. So I'm thinking, Mike, okay, I got my own room, don't have to get peed on, or don't have to take the mattress out. Wow. I get to stretch my legs. And my dad is like, no, bro, no, you're staying in that room. Just started seeing a whole bunch of strangers come in. We lived with probably over 80 people, through my lifetime.
Wow.
Growing up, my dad fed immigrants, housed them, allowed them to get on their feet. He had relationships with employers, got them jobs, got their legal status situated. And when they was on their feet ready, they was able to transition out, At a young age, I didn't know what was going on. I was just pissed off. I didn't have my own room,
Right.
But after he died of cancer and people started to come back and tell their story, that's when it hit. And that's when I knew what he was really doing. So, yeah, that was my upbringing. Went to Miami Central High, home of the Rockets. Then went to Broward College, FAU, Barry University for my master's degree. And at that time, I think after high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So my sister was like, hey, Richard, pretend that there's no money in this world. I'm like, okay. Pretend that there's no money in this world, but the government requires that everybody works and do something for free for the rest of their life. What career would you choose? And I'm like, okay, I like helping people. Perfect. She threw me in the car, went to Broward College, registration, went through all of the careers. And she was like, based on what you said, social work would be a great fit. Not knowing at that time, Mike, that, it would be my purpose and my passion, but she knew, my older sister. And I was just trying to take some courses and be done with it, But as I continued to take the courses, I started to be more interested, waking up every day, wanting to go to school. And let me tell you, grade school, I hated going to grade school. I hated school,
Right.
But it became fun because it was something that I was interested in, you know what I'm saying? Something that was really meshing. And once I got my first job internship with ChildNet and I had my first client, that's when I knew, okay, you know what? Even though it was crazy, it was a rude awakening, Mike, but I knew it was for me. It was for me. So you're streaming with a boy from Dade County, sir.
Man, so you talk about your first experience. Well, that's interesting, right? Because when you look at the historical aspect of your upbringing, it was about your father taking people in, right? Making a home for them. And it's interesting. Kind of really go back to the title, a home away from home. Like literally in that truest sense, your father laid some foundations down, right? Planted some seeds in you that you did not know today you will be doing the same at a different capacity, right? That is so impactful in itself.
Yeah.
Just the seed being planted by our parents, right? Yeah. And so, just like you, I had that moment of parents, housing people in, and I originally started my first initial career at Hillcrest Family Services in Dubuque, Iowa.
Oh, Jesus.
Right? It was a group home. And so, I mean, people who don't know, the folks who work in group homes have a tough job, right? They have a real tough job. They, because you have to balance the heart and still have a soft hand in that process with accountability, with a hand of accountability, right?
Man, when you watch a movie or you watch a show and they, show a kid in foster care or in a group home, it's always a negative perception, right?
Absolutely.
And then when there's a few group homes that don't do the right thing, it's all over the news.
Right.
And everybody has that negative perception of group homes. But, there's a lot of kids that have been through a lot of trauma, right? Abandoned, tied to poles, not fed, and, raped. And, they come in with anger, aggression. A one parent or two parent household, you can't handle that first few months of aggression and anger. You need a team to take that kid in, and care for them and provide therapeutic services and provide normalcy, because it takes a village to do what we do, right? Within the group home world. And it is not easy. I tell everybody, come volunteer just one day. Right. When it's been a few times, right, Mike, where we'll get a kid that come in our home. I'll be there to introduce myself. Do you know how many times I got kicked in the groin? Huh? Punched in the stomach? And I get it. They're angry. They're mad. A lot of our kids have been to 3 to 5 placements before they got to us. Wow. Of course, the state wants to try relatives, wants to try non-relatives, that traditional home first. And I get it. But once you see that this kid has a developmental disabilities, trauma, and aggression, okay, this kid needs a team. So before you get to that 3 to 5 placement, bring him over here. We don't want him long term. Bring him over here so we can stabilize him, so we can have a team of people to wrap around him and help stabilize him, right?
Right.
And then when it's time to go back to mom, a relative, it's fine. Right. But when they get to us by 3 to 5, they don't trust nobody. They hate everybody. And it takes probably a year for them to really feel comfortable. When they come in, Mike, they're trying to take food out the fridge, hide it in their room. And then we're like, yo, you don't have to do that. This is not that type of place. I don't know where you've been. This is not that type of place. If you're hungry, just tell us. You can eat all day. I don't care. But these are the type of kids that come in and how they feel. And they just want to express their frustration and anger with just being abused and being moved around. And honestly, we call it the honeymoon phase, because the first 3 months is all hell. So we're prepared for it, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I tell people, group homes, foster homes. All right, come do one day. I dare you to do one day. And I bet you have a newfound respect of people that work in group homes and the foster care system. So,
I appreciate that, Richard. I think at the end of the day, at least for me, when I would leave at the end of the night, I recognize that there's a wraparound supportive service that's needed for every child that's in the group home. And I took great privilege and honor when we'll do those team meetings and go over those files, go over those, personnel reports, right? I don't like calling them case files.
Mm-hmm.
I feel more comfortable calling them personnel reports, because our students are, the kids that we touch are not case, right? They're not cases. They're humans. They're a son, they're a daughter, they're a brother, they're a sister. When we talk about spend a day with us, what do a day look like in your life, right? When things, just from a leadership standpoint, what do it look like? What does it look like? Just a day in your life.
So I get about 100 text messages, at least, in 100, probably about 50 phone calls daily. All of the communication within our organization comes to me. I need to know that the kids got breakfast in the morning, that they bathed, that they got on the bus on time, that there was no behaviors. I need to know that they're behaving in school. If not, trust me, the school's going to call me, and they usually call every day. Right. They usually call every day. And by the way, I think we need more funding for behavior techs in all schools. So, and they're coming back, ensuring that lunch is there. The therapy is in the home. The kid that had that medical appointment that day had it, and I need to see the form, and I need to see what was said by the doctor. I need to know what's the follow-up. I need to know if there's any concerns, and to ensure that dinner is ready, that it's following the our meal plan, because we just don't throw junk food at them. Like, we have a dietitian for all of our homes.
Oh man, that's awesome.
That creates, the meal plan for our kids, right? So we like it's a full-fledged operation. Of course, they're kids. Sometimes I get a text message, "Oh, Arthur just hit the bus driver," or Ethan just got off the bus and ran down the street, and the staff is chasing them down, right? And I'm like, all right, do this, do that, do this, do that. I'm on my way. So, or when a kid is having a meltdown, because remember, it's trauma. Trauma don't end just because you got a house over your head or a roof over your head. So you'll go 2-3 weeks, having a good time. They're stable, and I'm like, okay, I can breathe, I can sleep tonight without any emergency phone calls. And at 1 o'clock in the morning, we get a call from my staff. Hey, this kid is up. He's been up for the last 2 days, and he's just not doing well. He's upset. So I would have to put my pajamas on, leave ESPN, because I'm trying to get an update of what all that's going on in sports. That's the time frame that I have to catch up on my schools, right?
So that's your humanistic side. That's your moment side, right? Because all leaders need a moment now.
Yo, I have my my Cooper Talk wine. It's after 12. Like, my kids asleep. They shut down. Of course, the whole day of work. Got my wine. Watching my ESPN, and at 1 o'clock, hey Richard, this kid is punching holes in the walls, trying to break the window, and I'm like, all right, put my clothes on, and I'm out. Going there, they call me uncle or bro, and I have to go in there and just sit down with them and talk to them. I've worked with hundreds of kids, right? Mm-hmm. And I've, as a caseworker, walked into group homes, and the staff are like screaming at these kids, right? You ain't gonna get nowhere with that. Like, kids are smart. You know what I'm saying? Kids are smart. And if you don't really meet them where they're at and show compassion, empathy, and lots of patience and understanding, man, just get out this field. Get out this field. Like, so now
wait,
sit down.
I got to pause you there because you just said something that kind of gave me chills as you was talking. When you talk about when you hit on, you really got to be in this, right? You really got to be vested, right? You can't just talk to kids any kind of way. We're talking about techniques, right?
Yeah.
Because we live in society that everyone has their own personal requirements. Then there's you have your own personal requirement. Then there's society requirements, and then what's really in the best interest of the child, right? Right. So when we talk about because really when you work in a group home, you're a coordinator. You're in some cases truth be told, you're a parent, right? Yeah. You're the parent figure in the home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so many times we find ourselves asking the question, have I done enough today? Have I truly made the impact? Right. So when you talk about, man, if you're not real about this, if you're not going to be authentic about the work and meet kids where they're at, see, then you need to get out this field.
Yeah.
Right. You need to step away, and it's okay. Right. You can't make serving children about a check.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Because those children become adults one day.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not trying to preach to those who may be watching. Right.
Preach, brother.
Right. But you gotta open up
we can talk about it. We can talk about it.
Nerve, right?
Yeah. Look, we can talk about it.
Because you may have someone who may say, well, I can make a living a little bit off this. Mm-hmm. But if you in this to make a living, it's not going to work out for you regardless.
Right.
You got to be in social services because you actually care.
I had one person tell me, yo, you got a bad business model. Because you get all these kids out of your home, getting them adopted like at a fast rate. Yes. When we get kids adopted, yeah, the funding is not there. Then we got to figure out, how to make payroll, how to do this, how to do that, how to, fund this event activity and things like that. But, it's the right thing to do, man. Like, when God called me home, I don't know blood in my hands. When he asked me, okay, what did you do? I don't want to stutter. Like, what did you do with your time here? Hell no, I ain't gonna say, well, we got funding. We made a lot of money. We had a lot of kids in our group home. I was able to, have a nice retirement and save for my kids and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I need to tell him that I completed my assignment here on earth.
Right. So we're talking about that purpose.
Yeah.
For those who just joining us, we're here with myself, Community-Based Connection. I'm Mike Olbel, the CEO of Community-Based Connection. Today I'm online with Richard Charlemon, CEO of Reyna Group Home. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning in. I see some comments in the comment section. Thank you, Manisha Hill. No, these children are not cases. And you're right, Kurt. It's about real talk. And Richard is a great man doing some great work. And Miss Heidi, we are in the business of children and not in the business of making money. You absolutely correct. Let's go back because a lot of times, you talked about, as when you first starting out, someone told you, look, that's not a good business practice to have, right? But you realize that the true business is the child.
Yeah.
It's taking care of that child, right? That's the true business. Is making sure that child tomorrow is not an adult that's destructive, that's totally in a state of chaos emotionally and psychologically in our community. We want to make sure that child is a productive member of society.
Yeah.
Right. someone who's a positive, who's a taxpayer, someone who's also making an impact because someone once made an impact of their life, or Richard Charlemon, right?
Mike, not everybody's gonna understand that, right? You know, a lot of these people that work in the field across the country have never had an interaction with a kid in foster care. You know, a lot of these people who are, you know, who make policies have never had an interaction with a kid in foster care. You know, so I remember, you know, when I worked for Handy, and it was this kid from Pompano Beach, and you know what Pompano is. You know,
I represent Pompano.
Yo, Pompano. If you were raised there and you made it, yo, look, you know, angels has been around you, okay? And this kid was, you know, just involved with gangs and bad people. His mom was in jail. His siblings are in jail. He came into our program, and I just felt like I needed to invest myself in him, including with the entire team. This kid is in Texas working for a big time construction company right now. This kid comes back. He's on a board of like foundations right now. You know, he's not trying to rob you when you're trying to, you know, leave your office, you know, Mike.
Right,
like,
right.
Those critical times when he was, you know, crying about his mom in jail, having temper tantrums about life not being fair, those hours upon hours, overnight calls, bro talks, trying to talk him off the edge, trying to talk him not to go back into, you know, the streets. Now your kids could be able to walk down the street or go shopping in our neighborhood without him trying to rob them. He's working for one of the biggest construction company right now. You know, they're in Florida and in Texas. You know what I'm saying? So it's critical. It's critical that you have like intention to sacrifice those times, moments for that kid, because you change that kid's life, you change your neighborhood, you change your community, you know?
Right.
And the kids know, man. They know if it's, man, the kids know. I remember, you know, when I was a caseworker, I'm sorry, Mike, you know, you got me going. So like, I remember like the kids, like I'll pick them up from school and they'll be like, man, I ain't gonna listen to what y'all saying, man. I know I'm just a check to y'all. They knew it. You know, kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
How much you care, man. You know what? Now, listen.
It's not about your college degree. It's not about your experience. Once they know that you care, they'll do.
That's all that matters.
They'll do whatever you say, Mike.
No, and that's very true, right? That's very true, because even when you take a look at, I remember, and I'll still never forget it. My high school psychology teacher, Elvin Hazel, used to say, you know, I care, and I'm gonna show you I care, right? He will stop the lesson that he was teaching to get to where the classroom needed him to be at, right? Because he saw different trauma that was happening, different tragedies, or whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah.
So we knew he cared, right? Every day, a child need to know that someone care about him, right? Because it makes a difference in that child's lives. Look, this world, you know, I hate to say it, but if you look at today's climate, you know, there's not a whole lot of positivity. You have to almost create that positivity for yourself, right? You have to get in a positive state of mind, surround yourself with right positive people. You know, there's so many different things you have to do in order to create this world of positivity, because outside of this world is full of negativity. You have bullying going on. You have, you know, you have bullying going on. You have, you know, trauma that's happening at home or on someone who probably went to a middle school party, you know, regardless what it may be, or some self-esteem issues. You know, there's many issues and challenges that our kids are facing today. And the last thing, not the last thing, but the first thing they need is to know that someone care about them throughout their whole process, right? Because part about building that resiliency is knowing that you're not alone.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times society will tell you you're alone. But if you just talk to a few people, you'll realize you're not alone, right? And so the reason that this conversation between me and you is so organically happening so organically is because I have had experience working in the group home. You're running the group home. And both our experience and our upbringing teaches us that we have to help those who come after us. We have not give them a hand out, but a hand up, right? Make sure that the ladder can reach them, right? So when we talk about touching that child, knowing that you actually care, and they knowing that they are not a check, right? Because that's a powerful statement for any child to say, yo, you here for the check, because they know you don't care. But when they know that you care, they give you a nickname, right?
Yep.
Yep. They call you by your last name, or they call you by your first name, whatever that relationship you have identified with that child, because with every child is going to be different. Every child is
going to all the time. They call you all the time.
Right. Right. So that door is never is forever open.
Yeah.
But when you talk about when you hit on that, again, that's something else that really got me going here is I know that you care. I can think about the over 500 family we touch on any given day here at Community Based Connection who know that our staff care, right? And part of that is making sure that we're hiring all the right people to do this work. So
bro, stop right there. Stop right there. Yo, that's critical. I remember it was I think it was my BA or a master's degree in social work. Man, we in class and everybody got all the answers. Yes, this population, and yes, that statistics. Yes. I'm in the back. I'm like, born and raised in Miami, Liberty City. These people don't have no clue.
Right.
We go in the field, right? They bring us, I think it was the Covenant House, or it was near the train tracks. I think Fort Lauderdale was the train tracks. And we had to talk to the homeless youth and the homeless people. What? Some of those students with all the answers didn't even get out the damn car. Okay? So you don't want to hire her or him. So what? He has a master's degree. You don't want to hire them. Because that kid will walk up in your office and walk right back out. Okay?
So you're talking about those with lived experience, right? Those who live experience are in the best position to serve the community, right? And we don't talk about that often, but I always make it a point to talk about that whenever we do this monthly segment.
Talk about it, Mike.
Because lived experience always matter regardless where you are at, right? It matters. We're not discrediting the person who didn't grow up in trauma.
No.
We're not discrediting them, right? We're glad that they didn't have to go through life trauma, right? We're excited about that. But we have to praise those who have gone through some trauma and made it out on the upside, right? And use their success and their skill set for our organization so we can touch as many people we can, right? Because too often we're throwing money at structural problems, policy problems that can be changed, right?
And all you need is the right people.
And all you need is the right people.
As simple as that. Look, I remember at the Handy program, bro, it was about 6 of us, I think, 5, 6 of us. For tutoring, we had 1 computer and about 30 kids coming in. Yo, I'm like, what in the world? How we gonna do this? It was Christine Bernard and Kirk Brown was like, this is what we do. This is what we do. And I learned a lot in that environment. And basically they were just saying, like, look, treat the kids like they're your kids, treat them like they're your sibling. And I'm like, that's it. I don't have to like sign 5 papers or to get a kid some cleats for football. I just have to ask for a credit card and we just go to Dick's Sporting Goods and just get them the credit card. So there's no politics and red tape. Oh, okay. Let's do this. Let's do this. And man, we didn't have much. Like I said, we had 1 computer for tutoring. But best believe we sent over 100 kids to 4-year colleges.
Man, say that again. Say that again.
We sent over 100 kids to 4-year colleges. And it didn't stop there. We got into this raggedy van, right? We got the credit card. We got the kids in there, and we drove to campus with them. There's times in other agencies, we just drop the kids off. You know what I'm saying? Stay a day, but because of the funding, you got to fly right back.
Right.
So orientation is a few days. So this foster care kid who probably felt alone all his life or her life sees these parents for these kids with them for a few days during orientation. So when it's time to hug them and say goodbye, they see everybody else saying goodbye to their loved ones and all the hugs and kisses. And here we go again, I'm alone. But we didn't do that. We cleaned the dorms. We went around to every department, make sure everything was straight, and then we went to Walmart. We're like, what you want? You got a credit card. Let's go. We don't got to sign no papers for this. Let's go. What you want? Sheets, pillows, boom, 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 boom. Let's go. Get you right. Right? Like, imagine how that makes them feel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, like sometimes you just need the right people to make an impact.
Right.
It's not all about funding and all about, policy making. Sometimes you just need the right people in the right organization.
Right.
So
those funding opportunities allow you to expand your reach.
Yeah.
So it serves a purpose.
Yeah.
Right. But the right connection is what helps elevate that purpose. Right.
Oh, yeah.
And so you think about not having much and you making the best of what you have and still sending over 100 kids off to college, realizing that some of those contributions was some unrestricted funds that was raised behind the scenes, right? So those dollars are so much needed with the work that we do every day, right?
I'm sorry, Mike. At that time, I think Handy was like growing, and we had like volunteers who came in and came out the pockets. We had child advocates. Like we had to come out the pockets. You don't want to know the number that I had to spend the years that I was at Handy. We had this volunteer of this Jewish guy, Evan Goldman. Now, what this guy's doing here, man? But he was
Evan man. That's my guy. Evan is my guy. I'm telling you, man. I love that guy.
He was the most impactful volunteer. The kids called him Uncle E. Now, when you got kids from Sistrunk, Sunland, Deepside, Pompano, doing all types of crazy things, calling a white Jewish man Uncle E, you had to be somebody special. So, like, at that time we didn't have,
and that means they just respected him to the highest level.
Yeah,
by calling him Uncle E. Because remember, we talked about the nicknames that the kid would give you because they know you care, right? And that is the respect they are giving him. At the end of the day, is calling him Uncle E. Because we all know kids are not just giving someone a nickname, which is a sense of endearment, right? A name of endearment that the kids had for Evan during his time, right? So think about that for a minute. That's powerful. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I just had to hit on that.
Like we didn't have the big bucks at that time. Funding is crucial and important, but you know how your mom had $20 and she stretched it to feed all y'all. That's how it was over there. And volunteers like Evan was like, hey, people on the north side, east side, and west side, come check this place out. Like, they're doing good work. And more people started to see the magic we had. And that's when more funding came in. That's when we were able to do more, right? So it goes back to what you were saying, about who could get you access to funding. So
right. Yeah, because the funding definitely makes a difference when you have it, right? Because it limits you going into your pockets a whole lot. Because I can recall, I don't think there's never been a time that I've been in social services that I never had to go in my pocket. I don't care what level I'm at. I just think it's part of a social service requirement, right? It's almost like you paying your tithes to a church, right? The only difference is that you can see the direct impact you're having, right? Because you know that child, if you did not purchase that shoes for that child would not have gone to school. No. And if they're not going to school, that means they're skipping school. And half the time, their parent may not know that they've been skipping school until they receive that phone call, right?
Yeah.
And so you have self-esteem issues creating. That child may be getting picked on. But the truth of the matter is, this is why we do the work we're doing. This is why you're creating a home away from home at Reyna Group. And just tell
about Marcus, you just mentioned something important. Let me tell you about Marcus. Marcus had a failed adoption in our group home. Well, or from his other home in Jacksonville, right? He came in, Mike, this kid, the first 3 days, went in his bedroom, took everything out and threw it in the living room. The first 3 days of school. He was just pissed off. He wasn't happy. He was mad. And then Johnny, our manager there, he's like, yo, you got to come down, man. You got to come out. This kid is like off the chain, So I went down and I'm like, yo, what's the problem? Right? We went to Walmart, got you everything for your room, your first day here. Got you a poster on the wall, this and that. Like you get to eat whatever you want. You get to go wherever you want. We have an outing this weekend. What's the problem, man? Like, is it the staff? He was like, nah, it's not the staff. I'm like, what's the problem, bro? He's like, they keep making fun of my shoes. And I'm like, oh, okay. Got you. And he came to us with, what they used to call back in the days, some Bobo shoes, some Bobos.
Right.
You understand? Like,
I understand that.
Those shoes that are not name brand, right?
Right.
So I called my brother. I said, yo, man, like, we don't have the budget to go buy, some Nikes and stuff like that. But this kid just told me his size, and he's the same size as you. What's up? And he's like, and he always starts off like this when I ask him for something. I've called him last 15 years of my career. He's like, come pick it up, man. Went over there. He had 9 pairs of brand new Jordans that he probably wore 1 to 5 times. I filled the car up, came back to the group home, went in his room, and I dropped all of them. Boom, 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 boom. And he's like, his eyes just keep on getting wider every time I kept on going back in the room, dropping Jordans. And he opened it, he was like, what? Yo, this kid is in JRTC right now. He's on a school choir, and he has good grades right now.
Yeah, awesome.
So this goes back to what you're saying, man.
Yeah, sometimes it's the little things that can make a significant great impact, right? It's just, I guess it goes back to what we said earlier. They know that you care because you're willing to solve a challenge, an obstacle course that they're facing, right? And you're solving it together, right? Because it took courage for him to say, hey, here's what's bothering me, right? And you responded to that. And so look, man, I think we can go all day with this, but I want to just highlight a few things. Tell me about recently you were just you was the winner of 2-on-1 award, Rising Star. Tell me about that feeling, man. How was that feeling?
I think everybody in social work, right, like every day you're grinding. Every day you're sacrificing. Every day you're doing what other people don't want to do, okay? And sometimes you feel like it's not being recognized or seen. Not that you care about it that much, but you just, that's how you feel, right? So I'm not gonna lie, like, you know, when I was with my other organization and I would like go into Kirk Brown's office and I'll slam the door, boom. But man, ain't no other agency that has our graduation rates. Ain't no other agency has our success rates. Why are we not getting the money and the recognition? What's going on? Rich, calm down. It will come. With recognition, you get support. With support, you get funding. With funding, you can do more for your kids, right? And I'm just being honest and transparent. Like, I used to go in his office like, yo, we doing like over 100 hours a week. You know, like, what's the deal? So hearing Reyna Group Home, name, announced, it felt really good, to be recognized. It made me feel that our work is being recognized across the county. I know it's being recognized across the state because agencies in Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, and Tallahassee wants us to expand over there, but I ain't got it like that yet, Mike.
Not yet. It's coming though. It's coming.
Soon come. Once I came off that stage, yo, my phone was blowing up, and people were coming up to me, and just with opportunities, and let's have lunch, let's link up, congratulations, and I'm like, finally, because as a CEO, right before you go to bed, you stare at your ceiling, and you're like, you have all these ideas for your organization, like great ideas before you go to bed, boom, 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 and question mark is down. Do I have the funding for all this? And then you go to sleep like, damn, okay, tomorrow, So,
right.
Just being able to get that recognition and getting the emails, the phone calls with people saying, yo, let's have lunch and, let's, create some opportunities for you. Because across the state, Mike, there's 4-year-old, 5-year-olds with autism being raised in lockdown facilities, Baker Act units. You got kids, your kids are beautiful, man. Like, imagine them being raised in lockdown facilities, sir. Yeah. So, like, I think that the state, like, we need to be more educated and trained in autism, because if you see a kid banging his head on the wall, deemed a bad kid. But he's nonverbal. His mom's boyfriend raped him and he couldn't say nothing about it because he's nonverbal. He's mad. He's angry. And he goes to school and bangs his head on the wall out of frustration. A person that's trained and educated in autism will know, or immediately he's frustrated about something, right? He's not a bad kid. So what happens is you put him in a home, bad kid. Put another home, bad kid. Put another home, bad kid. You know what? Let's get a more secured level of placement. And you got, like, I've taken in, like, I've taken a 5-year-old that had 10 placements before he came to me.
A 5-year-old?
5-year-old. And guess what? He was with us for 2 years, last placement, and he's adopted now.
Wow. Congratulations, man.
So it's tough. You know what I'm saying?
Richard, well, look.
And I know we ain't got enough time, man. But we could probably do this again.
Man, it's just hearing that a 5-year-old went to over 5 different group homes before they came to you, and now that child is adopted. So there's a story behind that all by itself, but I think the most important story here is that the investment you're making in our children are making a difference. And if you haven't heard it before, I know you received the 2-on-1 award for the Rising Star, but thank you. Thank you for working with the trauma population, those who deal with autism, those who've been molested, just so many different challenges they may come with. But your patience, your grace, your mercy, continue to allow you to find it in your heart to continue to do this work unselfishly, right?
It's not easy, and you should know, like, to be a leader, like, yo, you gotta be humble, man. Like, you gotta have patience. Um, you gotta be able to educate. It's not about telling people what to do. It's you gotta be so many things. And honestly, and be real with you, and I'm sure you probably felt this way. Sometimes it gets lonely at the top because people don't understand like your vision sometimes, like the overall vision, and ultimately you want the best for everybody that you serve, right?
Mm-hmm.
And most CEOs out there wants the best for the people that they serve.
Yeah.
And it just it gets really, really, really hard.
Yeah.
But it's very fulfilling, right? It's very fulfilling when you see a kid walk out your group home with a family.
Mm-hmm.
It's bittersweet sometimes, but that's when you are fulfilling your purpose, your assignment here on earth. I wouldn't change anything, at
Mm-hmm.
all. And there's a lot of dynamics that I have to be proactive on to just, make sure that we're in compliance, make sure that we send reports, make sure that, we're doing certain things. And sometimes you fall behind on those things. Like, honestly, like my last job, they're like, Richard, where's your notes? Richard, where's, the reports are late. Bro, I just sent over 100 kids to college. Don't talk to me about no damn report. I got 13 kids adopted. Yo, the day-to-day grind is no joke on this side. And I'm not
Right.
on a golf course. I'm not on a basketball court during the day. I'm in my homes during the day, in the morning, and at night. And when I get home, I got 3 hurricanes that's jumping on me, want my attention.
Right.
Got to make sure that they're good. The wife good. Then when I get, and I have about 2 hours to like do some paperwork. If I'm behind, I'm behind. As long as the kids get adopted and it's successful, come on, bro.
So, Richard, I appreciate your time today.
I'm sorry.
I appreciate your time today.
Mike.
Look, and most definitely, the work you're doing is so impactful. Getting kids adopted is what we need.
Yeah.
There's kids out of the system and with families that care about them. For those who just joined us or who's been with us throughout this whole hour today, thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Olbel, CEO of Community Based Connection. Always expand the available option that change the odds to helping children to be socially and academically successful, despite the many challenges that they face and regardless of the many negative influence around them. Y'all, we can't do this work without you. We can't do this work without our supporters, our volunteers, our community stakeholders, those who are in the room talking about us when we're not in the room, those who are advocating for us when we're not in the room advocating for ourselves. We want to say we thank you for the bottom of our hearts. But most of all, thank you to the children and family that trust us every day to go into their new homes and provide supportive services so they continue to build higher level of resiliency. Thank you, Richard. Thank you to the Renee Family Group Home. Any last word before you go?
Yes, like I've been around like Florida in different counties, and I just want to say like Broward County, yo, is small, but everybody support each other. You know, the partnerships, the volunteers. You know, I got people at other agencies working full-time jobs come over to support me. You know, I got, you know, Broward County donors are just amazing. We wouldn't be able to do what we're able to do. Our partnership with ChildNet, you know, is very crucial. You know, Heidi, Kurt, Christine, all these mentors that have like been a part of my life to help, you know, me get to this point is very crucial. Like I'm very fortunate to be running this organization in Broward County with all of these amazing partnerships and people. Like, you know, I'm looking to do more, sir. And I'm looking to do more, and I'm hoping to do more. I'm, you know, just to be real with you, you know, if I want to take this across the state of Florida, because while we're sitting here, there's a 7-year-old with autism in a lockdown facility in Tallahassee, Jacksonville, or wherever. Like, I can't get to him.
Right.
So definitely I need to build more relationships, build more partnerships so we can get across the state and care for kids with autism in the foster care system. Mike, thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate you. Yeah, hey man, don't beat me up, man. I'm sorry I went off. I'm sorry. Like 15 years of like grinding. You know how it is. I'm sorry.
No, man, it's all good. It's all good. Thank you everybody for joining us. Have a wonderful Wednesday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.